What's up, everyone? It's Chicks in the Office with Rianne Fran, giving you that Friday energy on a Wednesday. Of course, we are joined by Trent, luggage guy Trent. I don't have the energy to go through all the names, but Trent is here, and we have a great show for everybody. We're going to recap, obviously, Monday night's episode, and then we have a huge interview that we've been teasing with the one and only Blake Moynes. Guys, how did you feel about Blake? How did you feel about the interview?
I felt good. I thought he was exactly what he had portrayed himself on Instagram, being like, I can come on the show, like, you guys can be yourselves, I'll be myself, you guys can say whatever you want. Like, he was great. He was everything we wanted him to be, and he's the fourth amigo now.
Yeah. He has just put himself really into the group, just the way because he talks to you like he has known you for years. Mm-hmm. Like the way he has interacted now with us on social media is so funny because we're just like, it feels like we're all pals. Like he calls Rhea Ree. Like we just got this. We got the nicknames going on. It's great.
Yeah, it's great. He commented on when I posted a picture of my new hair, he was like, I'm into it, Ree. And it just is so friendly, right? It's like, I was like, you know what? Thanks. I don't know. I don't have a nickname for you, BM. Like yeah. I'm not sure what to, whatever. Blake is short enough, but I really thought Blake was an awesome interview. And I think that people will see a side of Blake that we didn't get to see on the show. And unfortunately, that's just the name of the game. And as the show went on, we made fun of Blake, and obviously we didn't know him. And then we talked to him, we got to know him, and I think everybody is going to really enjoy the interview. And of course, we mentioned Trent and his mother, so everybody's going to love that. But let's get into the recap from this week's episode.
I really hope we see Blake on Paradise. I think there's a good chance, but I really hope we do. So this episode, okay, a majority of this episode, I feel like was taken over by Heather, just like the looming presence of Heather. But let's start from the beginning. Picked up where we left off with this 2-on-1 situation between Jasenia and MJ. MJ is a lot of sides of MJ.
Noah slowly moving his camera away as he's eating. Like, Noah, we know you're eating. You could just hide yourself.
What do you got? What do you got there?
I'm just eating a salad. I didn't want you to watch me eat.
I was watching you, so I guess it's fair.
But it's funny because you could have just like hid your camera instead of sliding out of the frame.
Oh, and for anybody watching on YouTube, I know my lamp sucks. I know we got a lot of comments on that. During cutting stems, it's just, that's my lamp.
Your lamp looks like a limp dick. It's just
slightly bent over.
My lamp is what your lamp wants to be.
Yeah.
Right. Your lamp is my lamp excited.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. This is my NYC apartment. It's tiny. It's a bit of a shithole. And I don't know. That's my lamp. I don't know what to tell you.
It's fine, Trent.
It is funny now that we have had to, record at home that it's Trent's like, people are just like, Trent, are you in a closet? He's like, yeah, it's my room. Like there's nothing on the walls. Like there's no identification of that being a room someone lives in.
This is just the room where I sleep. And this isn't where I'm going to live the rest of my life. So I'm just like, I don't do anything to it. I just let it be blank and white and with a broken lamp.
Robbie's room compared to Trent's room is hilarious. Like Robbie's got all these tchotchkes and like all this stuff, and Trent is just
knickknacks.
Yeah, Trent is just nothing.
That's a guy who's still got hopes and dreams and things going on. I'm just like, we'll figure it out at some point.
You're focused on The Bachelor. You don't need art. You got another passion.
That's right.
Yeah, he watches his art on TV in the form of The Bachelor. So, all right. So MJ, Matt sent MJ home after talking to both MJ and Jasenia in this situation. Not surprising. It felt like MJ was going to need to go. Matt definitely seemed like he trusted Jasenia a little bit more. But their back and forth was something else between Jasenia and MJ. I also thought it was very funny that because of what we talked about last week on our recap of MJ just like recently changing her name to MJ, like her name's Meredith and she like recently changed it to MJ. Knowing that, it made Jasenia calling her Meredith that much better. Like she was like, okay, Meredith. Like it was like,
Okay,
it was
Mare.
perfect.
I have one question for MJ, and it's who does she think she is? Like, like genuinely, who does she think she is? Because she seems to think that she is this leader and she's all about peace and harmony, and she brought the house together. She was not toxic. She had nothing to do with the bullying. That was Victoria and Anna. She was the opposite. She wanted to bring them all together, when in reality, that's not who she is. She was toxic. She was part of the bullying. And sure, I can maybe see that she got swept up in the bullying, but she seems to think she had nothing to do with any of it. So that's what I was confused about. And I think Matt picked up on that. And I was glad that he picked Jasenia, obviously, because MJ or Meredith seems to think that she is this leader who wants to bring, again, everyone together. And she's just not that. And Matt was like, you got to get out of here.
Yeah, MJ thinks she's the toughest bitch on the block. Like and honestly, I will say, like, she thinks she's like, I'm gonna fuck people up, like I'm the baddest bitch, like I'm the best and whatever it is. And then I heard that she didn't do the boxing match because she's a pacifist and didn't want to fight with anybody. Apparently that's what Wells said on Caitlin Bristow's podcast. And I'm like, this seems like two different people that we're seeing here.
Peace and harmony, man. It's like she's really preaching peace and harmony. Maybe she thought that would get aired, like of her not being in the boxing and everyone. And when she afterwards talked about all the peace and harmony things, those two things would match up. But we never saw that. So instead, the peace and harmony seemed like it came out of left field, which sounds like something the editors did on purpose. But
yeah,
yeah, she lost it a little bit. She got caught in a lie, it seemed like, and then got very hostile. And her and Jasenia were going at it, and it was just another person who seemed like there's a lack of self-awareness. Where it's like, who are you? You're talking about Jasenia. It feels like you're talking about yourself. You can't be preaching all these things, talking about Jasenia's being petty and all this when you yourself are doing all of those things.
Correct. Delusional.
Yeah. So she gets sent home. Matt cancels the cocktail party, which of course sends all the girls into a tizzy once again.
I'm tired of the no cocktail party thing.
I kind of like it. Like I'm just like, let's just send people home. No,
like,
I know. We see no
would see way more conversations with Matt and the girls if there were cocktail parties, but we're not seeing any of that because they're all canceled. Why don't they just take away the cocktail party? Because it seems like the last 3 seasons, and I say 3 because Claire and Tayshia was a 2-in-1. No cocktail parties. That's it. We're canceling them. Let's take the fun out of the show and let's just have everybody be serious and take the drinking out of it. No cocktail parties. Like the girls are probably like, I'm thirsty. I'm thirsty for a fucking cocktail in this place because I'm losing my mind, and they're just taking it away.
This season specifically would benefit from more cocktail parties because we've talked about it on this recap where there's none of those cocktail parties, and then he'll go on a one-on-one date and they'll say they're falling in love with each other, and we're like, well, now where did that come from? So the more opportunities they could use to show Matt connecting with these women would be, I think, better for everyone overall. But it does seem like he's just going to keep canceling these cocktail parties.
Yeah, it does seem like they are cutting a lot of stuff out for the sake of showing more of the drama. I saw some pictures on Instagram that I guess it was the Sarah date or somewhere around the Sarah timeline. When there was like, it didn't seem like there was a day portion of a group date, just like went into the night portion. Tayshia and JoJo were there. Like there's pictures of Tayshia and JoJo with Matt, and it looks like they're filming. But it just seems like, and he's in that red and black flannel jacket that he was wearing, that we saw him wear already. And it was like, and everyone was like, wait, so did Tayshia and JoJo show up for a date and the whole thing, and then they just cut the whole date? Like they just said, we don't have time to show this date.
Well, maybe because Heather and Tyler were both in this episode that they got cut out.
No, it wasn't even this episode. I'm talking about episodes ago.
Oh,
I'm talking about during the Sarah stuff, apparently. This is when it was.
Interesting. Maybe they weren't good enough. Maybe.
Yeah.
That's
Crazy.
rude. I'm sure they were fine, but that is weird.
That messed
Yeah.
my head up. I hadn't seen those pictures at all. I hadn't heard anything about that.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
They were there, yeah.
Yeah,
JoJo guest hosted for Chris Harrison last season, right?
correct.
Okay. So I didn't know Tayshia and JoJo had anything to do with what was going on at Nemacolin, and that's very interesting.
Yeah, so
I thought
look
I
at-
saw pictures of them like laughing together. Yeah.
Oh, sure enough.
and we've seen him in that outfit.
Well, maybe he wore the outfit twice. They repeat outfits all the time on the show.
Yeah, I guess, but Matt, he doesn't seem like he's an outfit repeater. He's got all these looks.
That's a cool jacket, though.
It is a cool jacket.
I'd be stunned if they cut their entire part.
Right. That would seem weird. I feel like maybe he just wore the jacket again.
Yeah, maybe we'll see if they show up at a different point or if they never show up and they're never part of this. But yeah, the cocktail parties, I wish we had them. It's almost like these girls have been too dramatic where the cocktail parties could be an absolute disaster. Like we have had such great moments at cocktail parties, Kelsey and the champagne and all those things, but there's just been so much madness this season. It's like, all right, we're canceling another cocktail party. And Matt ended up sending home Maggie, Brittany, and Ryan. Ryan seemed very upset. She was crying a lot about leaving.
I was very confused about Ryan being so upset because I didn't even know Ryan's name. She was the most upset out of all of them, crying so much, and I didn't know her name. Maggie, I liked the best out of three of them. I feel like she should have, or not even, I don't know if her and Matt had a connection per se, but I liked her and I think she'll be good on Paradise. Brittany, the escort thing happened and then she was off the show, kind of messed up. That whole thing happened. It's like
pretty brutal.
Oh, this girl's an escort. Okay, bye. Have fun with that reputation. Peace out. It's like, or well, maybe you could have kept her for a little bit. Ryan, didn't even know your name.
I'm just grateful these numbers are dwindling. I less people to remember. For whatever reason, I've really had a hard time with remembering people's names this season. So I was grateful to see that we're three less. I feel bad for Brittany. Obviously, that's a tough go on a reality TV show that then just gets sent home. But I'm grateful that we're getting down the numbers here.
Yeah, I agree with both of you. And having it be, I think now 10 women feels a little bit more manageable.
Yes.
And
Thank
then,
God.
yeah, it has felt like there's just been so many ladies the whole time. Serena C decides to pick a fight with Katie. I don't know what is kind of her deal, what's going on with Serena C. She's clearly having some problems, I think, in her own head about how much time she's getting with Matt. And maybe she doesn't want to accept that she's not getting the time with Matt because Matt doesn't really like her. She would rather jump to the conclusion that she isn't getting time with Matt because Katie keeps telling Matt the truth about what's happening in the house and how there's absolute just like cartoon character humans in the hotel that need to be sent home. And so Serena C is blaming Katie for why she's not getting any time with Matt. It was ridiculous.
One of the crazier hills to die on, to say the reason I'm not getting time with The Bachelor is because you are snitching on all the bullying that's going on in the house. Like, it's just a weird disconnect. I think you're right, Fran. I think there's more going on with Serena C personally or whatever's going on in her head. And then she's projecting onto Katie being like, you're the reason why I'm not getting enough time with Matt. And obviously anytime one of these girls pulls Katie aside and tries to have a one-on-one being like, you're doing this wrong, you're costing me time with Matt, Katie just deals in facts and truth, and she always comes out ahead and on top, and everyone loves Katie, and it's just a bad idea to try to go at Katie when she is easily the most emotionally mature person in the house, and she's just going to say what's actually going on, and you're going to feel like you're definitely in the wrong because you are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, anytime you go up against Katie, you're going to be wrong because, like you said, she has it all right. Her head is on straight. She knows what's going on. She's like, I'm just going to give Matt James the facts of what's happening here. You guys could be mad about it and play games, but I'm just going to shoot facts out, and people are getting mad that she's being honest. It's weird to place the blame of not getting alone time or time with Matt on one other girl in the house when there's a million other girls in the house. Like, why is it just Katie's fault? It's not Katie's fault. It's the fact that he has tons of girls there and needs to talk to everybody. It's not just Katie's fault. And I also love that Katie is, she came in with the dildo and she had that good sense of humor, but then also is mature enough to know what's right and what's wrong. So she didn't come in being like this silly girl who's just joking all the time, haha, dildos, dicks, and all that, and then is just always that. She seems like she has multiple levels to her and can, she can be funny, but she can also be serious and she can relate to people. So I thought that was a good thing, but unfortunately, Matt didn't love it.
Yeah.
They were besties.
She schooled Serena C big time, and there was really no winning that argument with her. And now, there are tons of rumors that she is the next Bachelorette, and we're going to be seeing her as the next Bachelorette, Katie. And if that's the case, it makes a lot of sense, because it does seem like she got an absolutely phenomenal edit, like a phenomenal edit all season long. It was impossible not to like her. She had so many great moments. And I'm sure Katie realistically didn't want to spend every second with Matt talking about the other girls. And unfortunately, because of all the drama, we as viewers didn't get to see any other conversation really between Katie and Matt that didn't revolve around the other girls besides their one-on-one, and we know how that ended. So it's interesting. It's definitely interesting.
Also, I want to go back to Serena for just a second. She said something like she came in with her sex positivity, and it's like, Serena, let's loosen up the vagina a little bit, because it seems like maybe you need to borrow Katie's dildo, because really, that's what you're going to hold on to? Oh, she's just her and her little sex positivity. It's like, well, maybe you need some of that, Serena, because the fact that you're shaming her because of that makes you seem like an asshole.
Right. She's she's pro bullying and anti sexativity. She's got all the signals are crossed with Serena.
You seem miserable. If you are pro bullying, pro mean girl, but you hate sex, you probably are a miserable person.
I believe Trent might have just combined sex positivity into one word, and I love that. Did you call it sexativity?
Oh yeah. Is that not the word?
I don't know.
Sex positivity.
I like that.
But that's what I'm saying. Sexativity.
Trademark.
It's
trademark. We're putting that on a shirt. We're putting sexativity on a shirt.
Trademark.
This is a sexativity podcast.
Yes.
Legally binding trademark. No one else can use it without the Chicks in the Office podcast. That's just the way that it goes. Yeah. And going back to Katie, I hope that she is Bachelorette. I obviously she's got the most hype around her. When there were rumors on Twitter and Instagram a couple days ago, I think Katie put up an Instagram being like, "This is news to me." I think that's a smokescreen. I think I don't know who else it would be. If it's going to be someone from Matt's season, which it doesn't have to be. Obviously, they do whatever they want. But if it's going to be somebody from Matt's season, it's got to be Katie, and I think it is going to be her.
Yeah, there's been a lot of rumors that this announcement is coming this week. Freaking Mike Fleiss keeps tweeting a million times about how the Bachelorette announcement is coming soon. So realistically, it would have to be someone, if it is coming this week, it would have to be someone who has already left the show. If it is someone from Matt's season, unless they're like, hey guys, Bree's the Bachelorette, but she's still on the show. You guys are just gonna have to guess when she gets sent home. There's still so many women left that it's if you're going to announce this week, it can't be any of the ones that are still there.
Who did they do that with a couple years ago, though? Do you remember that?
I want to say it was Nick. Didn't they do it with Nick on Paradise?
Did they?
Nick. It was Nick was with that girl on Paradise. I'm forgetting her name. Jen. Yes. And Nick was with Jen, but then there were rumors about Nick being the next Bachelor, or I don't know. Maybe that's wrong, but you're right. That there is one where it was they're the new Bachelor, Bachelorette before they were even off the show.
Right. I don't think that's what's happening this time around.
No.
But I know that it happened once, and it was just a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it was fairly recent. I can't remember exactly who it was, though. Yeah, I think Katie should be Bachelorette. I don't think anybody else on the show got the Bachelorette edit or in a sense
Yeah.
where it was like, this person seems like they would be a good bachelorette. I don't think we've seen enough of the other girls' personalities to think that they would be a great bachelorette. But what we've seen of Katie, she seems like she'd be fun, but also relatable. And so I think she'd be a good choice. And I think that's where they're going with this at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. So Serena C kind of looked like a fool. It is what it is. She's pissed she's not getting any time with Matt. And then, all right, let's get into the Heather of it all, guys. But before we do that, Valentine's Day fast approaching. It's coming up, and everybody's thinking about their relationship during these times. If you don't have one, if you do have one, and you're maybe thinking about your time in the bedroom, you're thinking about what's going on, you're thinking about maybe how you could be doing something differently, maybe mixing in something new, or you just want to last a little bit longer. Well, the Roman swipes have got you covered. If you're dealing with, maybe some ED problems, or you're concerned about lasting longer in bed, Roman has everything to help you. For a limited time, Roman has special offers to make sure you're ready for Valentine's Day. You can get up to $35 off your first month of ED treatment if prescribed. And if you purchase swipes, you'll get a free bottle of lube added to your order while supplies last. The whole process is super straightforward. It's very simple, very discreet. It's just something you don't have to worry about. Valentine's Day can be stressful. This might help take away a little bit of that stress. So for a limited time, like I said, get up to $35 off your first month of ED treatment if prescribed. And if you purchase swipes, you'll get a free bottle of lube added to your order while supplies last. Complete your online visit by February 10th. That's today. Complete your online visit by today for guaranteed delivery by Valentine's Day. So go to getroman.com/chicks to get started. That's getroman.com/chicks. We got all this Heather stuff. Heather rolls up in her minivan, which she said on her Instagram story Monday night, being like, I just went to the rental company. They gave me the white minivan. I really didn't think anything of it. Like, I just took it, but I guess maybe I should have gotten something else. So, the whole narrative is so frustrating because there is just a 0% chance that Heather flew to Pennsylvania, got her white minivan rental car, rolled up to the Nemacolin and was like, hey guys, like, knock, knock, let me in. Like, they knew she was coming. So the whole thing just felt, I don't know, it was very fake. I didn't like it.
The whole thing was so fake that we don't even really need to talk about how fake it was because it was so fucking fake. And the fact that they put this whole act on, Kelly Keegan said it best on Cutting Stems. She was like, if they were going to do this act, they need to go all out and do the act. They need to be so cheesy, oh, Chris, what are you doing here? And really make it seem like a super acting. They tried to actually be good actors and make it seem like Heather just showed up, which was just not ideal because I feel like if, I feel like Heather is looking extremely lame due to the editing and what ABC and the producers did to her in The Bachelor. Totally. Because if they had her come in a way that was we're going to be bringing somebody from a different season and they announced it, or they did the super cheesy acting, people would be more open to the idea of Heather showing up because they would be like, wow, good idea, ABC. Bring somebody from an old season into the show. We haven't seen that before besides Nick on Caitlin Bristow's season. And we're so deep now. Who could it be? They teased Heather entirely too much. They tried to act like they were schooling one over on us, being like, oh, Heather just showed up in Pennsylvania. Meanwhile, she lives in California and there's a pandemic going on. They did Heather so dirty to the point now we're get Heather the fuck off our screens. We don't want Heather on our screens. I'm sure she's a nice person in real life. I'm sure they did her dirty, but they're making her look like a big old lame-o on this season.
I agree with everything you said. And even if they had, when they were doing the acting thing, that was patently ridiculous. Even if at the end of all of it, Chris Harrison turns to the camera and winks. If you just break it a little bit so we know that you guys know that we know that it's not actually happening. They really gave it to us like we thought it was actually happening. Yeah. And another thing,
I almost feel insulted, like that they think we're all that dumb.
Right. One of them's listening
Like
to this, and I hope they take the idea.
Yeah. They're all mic'd up. There's cameras. Like, come on. Like, how stupid do they think we are?
Let me ask you guys this.
It's in a pandemic. You think Heather just got on a flight because I'll just try my luck.
And they're making her seem stalkerish. They're like, Heather was just like, I want to meet Matt James so bad. I got in a white minivan and drove here. And it's like, she didn't do that, but they're making her seem weird.
Yeah.
How different would the reception have been of Heather for the viewers if they hadn't teased her at all? She was in none of the teaser trailers. We didn't know that she was coming. And then all of a sudden the white van pulls up to the security and it's like, hey, I'm Heather. I just really want to meet Matt, blah, 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 blah. I don't know if it would have been, I don't know if we would have been rooting for Heather in any sort of way, but it would have been much, much, much less. Like people were just upset last night because they were like, we knew Heather was coming and now it's finally happening. And now it's going to bleed into a second episode where Matt's just going to send her home within the first 10 minutes of next week. Like, I think it would have been different if she had just pulled up, no teasers, no nothing, and just there she is. Because I think the lead up and all the teasers really hurt Heather's appearance.
Yeah, I think Heather maybe Heather doesn't have a leg to stand on here, but I think Heather maybe needed to make a few more demands when it came to coming on the show. Because it just seemed like she gave herself to like, hey, yeah, I'm here. I'll do whatever you guys want me to do. And so they just saved her for when there was a lull in the drama, which happens to be, weeks into this thing, almost halfway through, even more than that, where they're like, yeah, let's throw her in now. Like, let's make it bad. Becca Tilley actually tweeted this, and she might have deleted it, but she tweeted, when I was called about coming back to be on Ben's season, which, she was on Crystal's and Ben Higgins' season, I said I would only come if I could start from the beginning with everyone else. And this Heather situation is the exact reason. So it makes me think that Heather was like, yeah, I'll come. I want to come back. They were like, Heather, you can come back. And then they just waited for the opportunity to throw her to the wolves, where it was going to make her look at absolutely the worst and just continue to make the girls crazy.
Well, to me, that seems like Becca Tilley, she knew what she wanted and she wanted to have a fair chance like everyone else and wanted to be in the beginning. Whereas Heather just wants to be on TV. That's the vibe I'm getting from this, because if maybe Heather doesn't have the right to make those demands yet. She wasn't on Colton season for a while. Maybe that's the case. But at the same time, it kind of seemed like Heather just wanted some screen time. She just wanted to get back out into Bachelor Nation's faces. She wants to make a career for herself, just like everybody else on that show wants to do. She wants the followers. Now she's going to get probably an influx of followers, because there are people who didn't know who Heather was. Even on the show, people were like, who is that? And they're like, oh, she's from Colton season. So it does bring eyeballs to Heather. And I think it was a mixture of, and Nick Viall tweeted this, a mixture of wanting to be on TV and also a mixture of that's Hannah Brown's friend. And Hannah thought, hey, I could slide Heather in with Matt.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Matt did say that he had met Heather before, and we obviously could tell when Heather walked in, he was laughing uncontrollably. So he clearly knew, recognized her and knew who she was and whatnot. So it was just more annoying too, I think, because it is being dragged out so much. We had to wait the whole episode just for the last 5 seconds of her walking in, and the whole to be continued next week. It's crazy. Trent kept the stopwatch going, because last week he had said that she would only be on TV for 7 minutes. And the fact that we went through a 2-hour episode that felt like was so surrounded on Heather waiting in the wings, she was really only on screen for 6 minutes.
Yeah, it was 6 minutes and 2 seconds. My prediction was 7 minutes. I don't think that's going to pan out, because she'll be around for, I would say, the first 10 to 15 minutes next week, and then she's going to be gone. I thought Matt's reaction to Heather, because he was sitting with Piper, right?
Yeah.
And Piper was not a fan, and Matt just maniacally laughing. I don't know if that was the right reaction, because all the other girls are going to find out about that reaction. They're going to be like, what's going on? It was just the whole thing. We're going to look back on this Heather thing and be like, that was fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah. Yep. And speaking of Piper, she got the one-on-one date It was very delightful. Piper from the beginning, like I just have had this weird, not obsession, but like Piper to me, like I'm like Piper to me, I think is one of the prettiest girls on the show, and she seems very cool. And she does seem, at first I couldn't tell. I was like, is she kind of boring? I'm not sure, but the way she reacted to Heather showing in, I was like, oh, she's feisty. Like that's I like that. She came like freaking barreling in, running in to tell the girls about what happened. But her one-on-one date with Matt was very, very nice. They had this whole carnival to themselves in the middle of the woods. Every carnival game you could dream of, multiple rides, everything. It looked fantastic.
Yeah, that's I said it on Cutting Stems last night, but these dates in comparison to La Quinta season are just preposterous. They are ridiculous. Like they got all this space at Nemacolin in Pennsylvania, and they are taking advantage of it. They built an entire carnival for Matt and Piper to be out there for probably an hour, and then they just, I don't know what they do. I want to know, I'm more interested in what's going on with that carnival and how long it took them to build, how long it was actually up, if anybody else got to ride on any of those rides, if anybody else got some of those stuffed animals. Like the difference between the dates during Tayshia and Claire's season and the dates on Matt James's season are just, they couldn't be more different. But yeah, I guess that kind of speaks to the
good Bachelor budget.
That speaks to the Bachelor budget, but also the fact that I'm talking about the carnival itself and not the date. The date wasn't that eventful. I think Matt and Piper do like each other, but there wasn't any, it wasn't too crazy. I think in the night portion, correct me if I'm wrong, Piper did say that she's fallen in love with Matt.
She did, yes.
Okay, and I don't think Matt said anything to that, but this is another, evidence that we haven't been seeing all of the interactions between Matt and these girls, because I know that Matt likes Piper. She was on the group date where they were out on the farm and they had that impromptu makeout session that I thought was a pretty intense makeout session, but Piper's fallen in love with Matt. It's just all these girls seem to be falling in love with Matt.
Of course they are. There's the only man that in their sights besides Chris Harrison. They're either falling in love with Matt or they're falling in love with Chris Harrison, and it's because they're being, they're in an enclosed space for weeks at a time with no interaction to the outside. They're gonna be falling in love with this guy, but he has many options. So it's like, for him, he's probably falling in love with multiple of them.
Yeah, definitely. It does seem like, he does get this big smile on his face when these girls there's been multiple now telling that they're falling for him. So the girls are all over Matt. The carnival.
Also, I love Piper's dresses. I want to put that out there. She always has the best dresses.
She does. She has been really crushing it. And so they have their carnival, they have their dinner, looked like a nice date. They were having a nice conversation. Piper was opening up about her family, and all in all, solid one-on-one, another solid one-on-one. It's just, they're all the one-on-ones are, I don't know why, they're just all slightly uneventful. Like they're just kind of like, oh, that was nice. And that girl's fallen in love with Matt. That's, I don't know if it's because I'm not like fully really invested in any of these relationships yet, where I'm like actually caring. Because all the one-on-ones, I'm like, oh, that's another nice one-on-one.
They do hit the same beats, it seems. And that's what made the Katie one so, kind of out of left field. We all kind of knew that Matt and Katie weren't going to end up together. They're more friends than anything else. But that was the first one where it was like, oh shit, that actually didn't go to plan up until the last second. Like if you had asked me like 98% into that date whether or not Katie was getting that rose, I would have said yes. I figured they're not going to end up together in the end, but I thought she was going to make it through that one-on-one. It seemed like they had a great time. But I'm with you on the one-on-ones in general. It does seem that they're all kind of the same.
Yeah.
And they're not really in depth at all. We're not learning about any of the women, and we're not learning anything about Matt James. So I feel like in the last season, we were learning a lot about the guys and maybe not learning so much about Tayshia. But this season, I don't think we're really learning that much. I mean, we have about some people, and I love the girls who have opened up. But I feel like, Matt is not really.
Matt hasn't.
We're not seeing really anything from Matt. We're not seeing him open up or really get to know him as much as I think we should be.
Yeah, no, you're definitely right about that, Rhea. I think, but that also goes back to Matt from the beginning of the show talking about how he's never really fully given himself all up in a relationship. Like, he kind of reaches a point and then backs away. So that kind of makes sense of why he has not totally jumped in head first into really like expressing himself fully. So we'll see if that happens. The group date, they went bowling. Wasn't really, honestly, another one that was not very eventful. Like, they went
basically
bowling.
the show is just really boring. And
It's like,
not really sure
bowling.
why we watch.
I know. Well, because I just feel like there's been so much drama on so many group dates that this was a very standard group date. They went on the date. They played a game. There were teams. They went bowling. There was one team won. They got to win the time with Matt. The only twist was that nice guy Matt invited the team that lost back onto the date.
You can't do that. You
can't do that.
You can't do that.
If you're not first, you're last.
Ricky Bobby.
Yep.
That takes away all the point of the competition. I know it's a stupid bowling competition, but if I was the girls on the winning team, I'd be like, well, that sucks. Like,
yeah.
You can't, as a bachelor and a bachelorette, you can't do things where you're going to lose the house. And I feel like there's been a couple things this season where Matt almost lost the house and potentially bringing Heather in. If he brings Heather in, by the way, which I don't think he's going to, he'll lose the house. It'll be gone. But
he'll lose the house and he'll just end up with Heather.
Yeah.
That's true. But if on the bowling date, the winning team should get the time. I know it's a stupid bowling competition, but we always say there are no rules, but there's rules sometimes. Every once in a while there are.
There needs to be. It's not even that there are. Sometimes there needs to be some rules. Cocktail party has to happen. Dates. Winners get the date. Losers, you stay home. You lost.
Yeah.
Not happening here.
I know. So he brought him back. We're seeing more of Chelsea, which I love. I think Chelsea's getting more airtime, which is very well deserved. However, Michelle got the group date rose. We know that it feels like Matt really likes Michelle. Michelle jumped to the front of the pack as soon as she showed up with the new girls and got that one-on-one. So Michelle got that group date rose. Looks like all things are going well between the two of them. The other one-on-one was Katie, which, yes, we already talked about. She was sent home at the end of it. But the fun part of the date was that Tyler came to see Matt. They played a little pool. They talked a little bit. It was funny because I think, there's been a lot of jokes about this, that Matt was the most excited to see Tyler than he was any of the women all season long. And it seemed like Matt was opening up more to Tyler playing pool than he has any of the other girls. Like, he actually seemed like he was talking about his feelings a little bit, which we haven't seen him totally do. So Tyler was getting it all out of him. And then they got to pull a little prank.
It makes sense why Matt is opening up to Tyler, though, and is the most excited to see Tyler.
Yeah.
It's his best friend. Anybody would be that excited to see their best friend, and they have a really strong friendship, so it makes sense. They did do a little pranking, Matt and Katie did on Tyler, where Tyler thought he was getting a massage, and the masseuse was a Bachelor super fan, making fake phone calls to Katie, being like, "You have no idea who I'm doing right now. It's Tyler Cameron from The Bachelorette."
Oh, that part.
Oh my God, I know. Crawled out of my skin. But I think that funny date. I think it was a really fun date. And I think all the other girls were probably jealous when they found out what the date was, because not only is like Katie got to meet Tyler, which I'm sure all the other girls want to as well, it also was like actually a fun date. Like, messing with somebody like a prank like that is a fun thing to do. So I feel like that aspect of it. But I do think that they didn't show like enough of Tyler speaking. Like, they were like, all right, Tyler takes his shirt off. It's good for TV. People are going to love this. And we didn't really get to hear him talk at all during the massage. Even when he met Katie and Matt, it was very quick. It was like no Tyler speaking, only shirt off.
It makes me think maybe Golden Boy Tyler said some things and they were like, we can't put that in there.
Yeah. Like when Matt said that Tyler fell for somebody, I know that everyone wants to say it was the prank. Tyler fell for the prank. I think that Tyler was probably like flirting with the masseuse or something. And so Matt was like, oh, he fell for the masseuse. But then they cut all that out and made Tyler look good and just made it be like a funny prank, because we didn't hear Tyler speak at all during that massage, and we know Tyler spoke during that massage.
Yeah.
Like he didn't say anything when he's getting his nipples rubbed. Nothing came out. Didn't utter a word. Not even like what's happening.
Like whoa.
Not even a whoa. We didn't even get a whoa. Yeah, I think you're right. I think that he probably cut out some of Tyler's stuff where he was flirting with the masseuse. That's a shame.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if, they were asking him a few more questions. But at the end of the day, not shocking at all that the way they incorporate Tyler is in a way that he has to get like naked, like he's in his underwear. It was like, Tyler C's coming. Let's do this thing. So
strip him.
Yep. Yes.
I mean, the dude is awesome looking. He's an awesome.
It really
person.
is ridiculous every time sometimes you forget and then you see it again and you're like, damn. Yep.
How much? I should ask him next time we see him. How much work goes into that? It's got to be just an insane. I mean, I do no work, so I understand.
Too much work.
Trent, he's got a gym. He's got like a full-blown gym in his house.
Yeah, in his garage.
That's what I mean, though. Like, so I sit around and I watch TV and I eat potato chips and I do podcasts. Potato chips. I eat sour cream and cheddar Ruffles. They're the number one chip in the world, but. Like, how much of my time would I have to put forth exercising and eating correctly? Like, I feel like it's 23 out of the 24 hours.
It's every day. He's working at that every day. That's too much.
Yeah.
Too much. Good for him, but none of us.
We can respect it, but say it's, not for us.
Yeah. Good for you, not for me.
Good for you, not for me. And unfortunately, this date didn't go great for Katie. Katie tried to get a little deep with him, open up a bit, work on their relationship. But unfortunately, it was always pretty clear that there wasn't a lot of chemistry between the two of them. We've seen chemistry between, him and I feel like Serena P and him and Michelle. And with Katie, chemistry is just not there. So wasn't surprising that he sent her home. It was pretty ruthless that he picked up the rose and held it for as long as he did while sending her home. Like he just held it for so long while trying to find a nice way to send her home.
And maybe it was just edited this way, but he picked it up at a time where if you poll the nation and you ask, is he giving this rose to Katie or not? I think 99.9% of people say yes. Like they had just gotten done having a pretty deep conversation and it seemed like everything was going well. And he picked it up. I was like, oh, she's gonna advance here. And then it just, they always say that but, and it turns. And then it cuts to the girls in the house being like, I don't know if Katie is going to be coming back here or not. I don't know if they have that type of connection. And then it just all goes downhill there for Katie. I would be curious if Katie does an interview or in a lead up to her being the Bachelorette, if that ends up happening, how she felt, if she feels the way that we all feel about her and Matt. Like as the process was going on, did she realize at any point, like, we like each other, but it's more of a friendship than it is a romance relationship? I'd be very curious to know how she felt during the actual show.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because we don't know. She may have been feeling more things for Matt James. But as viewers, we all said they seem like good pals. They seem like they could be good friends. I thought it was funny in the car when she was like, I already envisioned us like hanging out with Tyler. And I was like, of course, like that's the way she goes. She's like, I already envisioned us hanging out with Tyler, having a football game. It's like, it's going to be okay, Katie. I think you're going to make it through.
Look, she probably left with visions. She probably left with visions of shirtless Tyler dancing in her head. Like, it's like
there was
they were going to play football together.
Tyler's definitely on the brain after you go through that whole date.
There was a funny moment when they first got to the massage parlor or wherever they were, where Matt was explaining the date to Katie. He's like, my friend Tyler C is here. And then she was acting like, oh yeah, this is all new information to me.
Tyler, okay.
Tyler, I can't wait.
In her head, she was like, be cool.
Like, in her head, she's like, I totally know who that guy is. We're in a massage parlor. I'm probably going to see him shirtless. This is going to be good.
Yeah,
I mean, at least she got a good date to go out on.
Yeah, so we left off Katie leaving and Heather making her entrance into the group and everybody freaking out, got slapped with another cliffhanger. So we'll see what happens with Heather. It doesn't look like it's going to be good.
How close are we to hometowns? Somebody was throwing the word hometowns around last night. And I think it's just because we've had so many girls this season that that came up faster on me than I thought.
Right.
They said 2 weeks.
They kept saying 2 weeks. And Chris Harrison did kind of seem like he came in and gave the girls like a, hey, we're getting serious now. Like, let's start taking this shit seriously. Hometowns are coming up. So definitely, I think the girls have that in their minds that hometowns are soon. I feel like as viewers, we probably won't see that for another 3-ish weeks. Yeah. I would think. So we're almost there. See what happens. And
who is your top 2 right now? Would you say?
Michelle, definitely Michelle.
Yep. And Serena P.
I was actually gonna say the same.
Serena pick something different because you're copying me now. No, I'm kidding.
Michelle and Brie. Which one of those? Some of those. Definitely Michelle.
It's definitely Michelle. Yeah, I think any second place you pick is going to be pretty far behind Michelle. But I think Michelle is by far number 1.
Yeah. And so all right, guys. I think that wraps up the recap for the episode. And now we can get into our interview with Blake Moynes.
We are about to get into the Blake Moynes interview, the one and only Blake that everybody has been waiting for. But first, make sure to pick up a taser strike light. I'm not saying to stop right now and then go pick up a taser. I'm saying just do it. Just pick up a taser strike light. The taser strike light is a rechargeable, high-powered flashlight that can repel any attacker through its electric stun feature. It literally combines a flashlight and a stun gun together. Why would you have a flashlight without this feature? I don't know. I don't know why you would do that. It doesn't make any sense why you would do that. So go to taser.com and use promo code Barstool for 15% off. Please note a limited number of states require a permit for use, and taser products cannot be purchased for personal use in Hawaii or Rhode Island. So once again, go to taser.com and use promo code Barstool for 15% off. Once again, taser.com, promo code Barstool for 15% off for a taser strike light.
All right, guys, we have been teasing a special guest for today's episode. We haven't revealed who it is, but we will now. Welcome to the show, the one, the only, Blake Moynes. Welcome, Blake.
Thanks for having me. I love how the Moynes thing is just stuck from forever. Everybody that says my
Yeah.
It's so weird.
It happens with some contestants. It doesn't happen with others where, you can't talk about you without saying Blake Moynes.
Well, because there's also the other Blake.
Right, but it's funny because the other Blake was a non-factor in the season, right? So it's no offense to the other Blake, but it was even though you would think that there's a period where Blake Moynes could transition to just being Blake because the other Blake didn't really matter.
No.
But it's the same with Tyler C. Tyler C., the other Tyler wasn't on the show for that long, but Tyler C stayed Tyler C forever.
I'm talking about Blake, other Blake. I can't even pronounce his last name.
Becca's Blake.
Horseman.
Yeah.
Yes.
That Blake. So I think, wait, Becca's Blake?
Yeah.
Yeah,
he was on Becca's season.
Oh my God, I don't even remember where Blake came from. Yeah, so that's why we have to be specific. Yes. Blake Moynes. But we're very happy you joined us on this show because obviously we've talked about you a lot and you've seen it. How did you start seeing or hearing us talk about you?
I would say for the most part, a lot of my girlfriends love you guys. So they would start sending me all these little clips, whether it was Twitter, Instagram, all these things. And then I slowly got to understand what you guys were about. And then I started chiming in and my mom started chiming in and my mom started following Barstool Trend. And that's where we got to the whole point we're at now.
Yeah, Blake, how did you feel when I won't say it again, or maybe I will. We joked that you followed Fran and I on Instagram, and Fran and I were teasing Trent a little bit, being like, hey, Blake followed us, guess what? And then we remembered that your mom followed Trent, and Trent made a joke being like, I'm going to slide in to your mom's DMs if you don't follow me. And then I took it a step further and said that Trent was going to fornicate your mother. What was your first reaction when you heard that? Were you disgusted and appalled with us, or did you laugh?
No, I literally laughed out loud. Okay, this is the thing, right? For the most part, people are so reserved, especially the contestants on the show. They're so careful as to how to navigate the stuff. I'm just real. Anyone else that would have heard that should laugh it off. Yeah. It's not it's a serious thing. So I ran with it, and it just reminded me of my buddies growing up for the most part.
That's
a lot of my buddies thought my mom was good looking growing up. So like I always got the jab. So Barstool
Well,
Trent
she
here
is. She is
just
beautiful. Yeah.
brought it back.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
I will say you did follow me back, so it's all good. I will not try to sleep with your mother. I'm not going to do it. Out of a respect for what I said on the show,
Yep.
you followed me back, so it's all good.
Blake, would you accept Trent as your father, though?
Oh God, Trent is my stepdad. I don't
Yeah,
know.
as your stepdad.
We can have a
I don't
catch.
know.
We can have a catch in the backyard. I'll take you to baseball games. It'll
No,
be
he
fun.
comes down the stairs in the morning like no. From my mom's room.
I'll be cooking waffles in my underwear, or cooking waffles in my underwear. It'll be fine.
If Blake goes to paradise, instead of you being the luggage guy, you're actually just Blake's stepdad, and they show a little preview of you guys having a nice talk, sending him off.
Oh boy.
That would be awesome. If I do to a paradise, we can make.
But this is what's great is that you laugh at this stuff and you get it. Like there are other people who would not, appreciate jokes like that, but you roll with it. You went back and forth with us on Instagram. You're on the show now. Like that's perfect for us.
Well, it's just like people just need to lighten the fuck up. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
just lighten up. And so I think people that follow you get your humor and all that kind of stuff. They should be following you if they don't. So,
Yeah.
And not everyone's going to be like that. Not everyone's going to, but I am one. So. we're
No,
good.
that's why we give you the credit, because we have definitely talked about our fair share of contestants on this show, and nobody that we have come at maybe as hard as we came at you has been like, yeah, I'll come on the show. Like it's to kind of talk about it and have fun with it. So it definitely is fantastic. But look, Blake, you were very much labeled like this sexual guy on
Sex
this season.
pistol.
I don't know how that happened, because with there was like Claire's Blake Moynes, and then there was Tayshia's Blake Moynes. They seemed kind of like two different guys.
Yes, they were, I think, for the most part, right? Like, well, the chaotic part to Claire's season, like, didn't allow for any of, like, the fun stuff to come out really in anybody, like, not one contestant, right? So it was just chaotic. Everyone was on edge the whole time. And then when Tayshia came in, it loosened up. And then for me, I kind of felt like an underdog in a way coming on the Tayshia's part of the season. So I just lightened up, and, like, you started to see, like, the fun side of me, and just I wasn't as intense like I was with Claire. But, like, the whole Claire portion of the season, like, made me be intense. I was literally stress balled. I don't know if you guys saw those articles that came out. Like, I was not right up here. Like, I was a disaster.
Was it an accurate depiction? Is that the word?
Yeah,
Okay,
accurate
cool.
depiction.
Accurate depiction of what we thought Claire's season was like, because I feel like watching it, everyone, saw Claire and Dale, and everyone was like, oh, well, she's not talking to a lot of the other guys. What was your viewpoint of it being there?
I think from just besides Jason and I, there wasn't anyone else that I ever talked to that was like, I really feel something with Claire. So the only one I really bounced things off of was Jason, because I felt like we were in a similar kind of spot. Everyone else I had talked to made me feel like I was doing really well with Claire, because everyone else said there was nothing happening with them. And because I didn't have like a great relationship with Dale, not that it was bad, but we didn't talk that much. And I didn't know what was really going on with the Dale and Claire thing. And even though everyone had told me that, I think something's going on there, she's going to run off with him, like, I was like, yeah, but like, I'm kissing her, like, I'm having some of these things too. So like, I just compared between Jason, the rest of the guys, and like, that was it. And so I was so confused because I was so wrong the whole time. And now watching it back, I'm like, holy fuck. Like, from the limo, like, it was over. And like, I can't believe that, like, I stressed as much as I did. I just wish I had more of an in and saw things. Because other than that one date, the one date where she spent like 45 minutes with him, like, before everyone else. I don't know if you remember that one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and like Easy came into the room. Aside from that, I had never seen her and Dale do anything that was like spectacular, other than the first impression rose. So I just thought, like, no, like, I'm killing it with her. Like,
Yeah, and I think that's why
We saw that.
we
so
were
shook-
confused. Yeah, because we were like, wait, why does Blake think he's killing it with Claire? Because we're only seeing Claire and Dale. So it was kind of the opposite of what you were seeing.
yeah, I never had seen any of the stuff in person. I wasn't on the dates to like see them really hitting it off and all kind of stuff. So for me, like, I was just, thought I was doing great. Like, I thought I was up there with Dale and Jason. And then meanwhile, like, she did, it was rough. So when she came in, that's why I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I couldn't believe, like, I literally couldn't believe it. You saw me. I was just touching my beard and being like, what the fuck? Like,
Yeah, I think we all may have tweeted like, "Wait, why is Blake so shocked?"
Yeah, yeah.
Which this explains it.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely does. And then it felt like such a shift because, like you said, Claire, we all saw Claire and Dale, but we did see, the dates Jason, we felt like, okay, there are some other players potentially. And then Tayshia, it was kind of a flip because it felt like you were waiting for that time with her, waiting for that one-on-one, and it just didn't really work out.
Yeah, no, it didn't, did it? No, it was so weird because like I literally at night one I had to Tayshia, well, we didn't know who it was going to be, but regardless of who it was going to be, whether it was going to be a pair, no one knew what was going to happen. But I knew that I had to like come out and just be honest because like I came in fired up for Claire. Like I did, right? And you saw that. That's why I was so upset when I was just so confused. So regardless, it was going to be hard for me to make that transition. And there was no way that I was just going to like play it off like Claire was never a thing. And like I wasn't that invested because just that wasn't the case. So no one wants to hear that I was really into Claire, but like, just give me some time. If you give me some time, like I'll get around for you and like, I'll get there. She didn't want to hear that. She was not impressed on our first conversation that we had on night one, but she did keep me around long enough to like get there. And those little conversations you guys never saw, you just saw me orgasming and doing some crazy shit. But like, we had great conversations, meaningful conversations that like, there's a reason. As much as like everyone is so confused as to why she was like broken and crying, all those things, like when I got sent home, like there is a reason to that. She wasn't just upset because I was just some donkey that was doing this dumb shit. Like there's things that weren't unfortunately shown. You didn't see, I don't think there was one conversation you saw with Tayshia and I, right? So like there's things there that just didn't make it.
Yeah. How'd you feel about all the nudity on your season? There was a lot of nudity.
A lot. I know. For me, like, I don't give a shit, right? I'm very comfortable.
I think I said you were going to be a porn star.
We know it bothered a lot of other contestants.
Yeah, it did. Not everyone was all for it, right? Like the whole Yusuf thing. And there were some guys that didn't strip all the way down and that kind of thing, which, whatever. But I also, like, grew up playing hockey and, like, just, like, whatever.
You're a guy's guy. You're a guy's guy.
I'm a guy's guy, so, like.
That's a hockey bro move.
Yes.
Yeah. Flaunting that, let that hang out, like, was not an issue for me.
Letting it swing, I get it, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So I was completely okay with all that. I didn't really even second guess it, to be honest.
Yeah, it became such a weird focus, I think, after all the Yosef stuff. And everyone was like, he wasn't even on the date. Why does he care so much? But when the guys that are on the date, if it didn't bother you that much, then, it didn't bother you. So that's good.
Yeah. It definitely did bother some guys. Some other guys that weren't on the date definitely said that they probably wouldn't have stripped down.
Yeah.
But I mean, it is a lot to ask, I think, to get. But like, whatever, right? Just run with it.
Did you think you were going to get this kind of, I forget who said it, but one of the guys specifically said like Blake is just over there. He's like, Blake's talking about sex all the time. It was something along those lines where it was like, wait, what? It came out of nowhere, which is why we were so confused. And then it felt like you almost got that edit watching it back. And now when you watched it, were you like, okay, God, what's going on here?
Yeah, I mean, okay. So for the most part, I think when the guys are shooting the shit around the house, like when they're not on dates and stuff, like we talk about everything you can think of. Like it's basically like a locker room, a sports locker room, like guys sitting around the pool shooting the shit, whatever, right? But sex isn't like a scary topic for me. So no matter how I talk about it, like people can get like really uncomfortable, like bringing it up. And like, this is where like, I like what Katie's about on that season. Cause she's just very open. Like some people don't like that. Like you mentioned sex or like it's to themselves. It's a private thing. Like it's a very natural thing that all three of you probably thought about today at some point. Like, so why do we?
I mean, we talked about your mom and
there you go. So like, it's just something that's very like open for me to talk about. So I don't shy away from that conversation. It should be one that's more like, anyways. So for the whole sex thing, like, it's just maybe I talk about it more than the other guys in terms of like because I'm more comfortable, but not in like crazy ways. You know what I mean?
Right. It's just with The Bachelor, because of the audience, sometimes it comes across like, whoa, this is this crazy sex machine, but it's really, you're just like a normal guy.
very just normal, just okay with talking about it. And because I was one of the only ones that's really okay with talking about it and orgasm aggressively as I did, made a dick and all those things, that, you know, I come across as like,
Yeah, well, it's those
Ron Jeremy,
things
and
start
I'm
to
not,
add
so-
those things start to add up when you list
Yeah,
them all out
no.
like that.
no, for sure. I'm very open. That's all. Very open.
Well, that's
Yeah.
good. That's good.
What was the vibe amongst the guys between Claire and Tayshia? Because I think you might be the first contestant we've talked to from that season. Like what were some of the discussions that you guys had? What were you expecting? Like what was the vibe like amongst the guys?
From making the transition, or the difference between the two?
Making the transition.
For the most part, everyone was like really pumped because now everyone felt like that. Everyone felt like they had a chance. Like, you know, they didn't feel like they were getting much of one with Claire. Just like I said, besides just a couple of us. So they were like, this is like best case scenario, really. Like, because because Tayshia also on night one made everyone feel like they were in it. Like, she's so easy to talk to. So regardless if she was really, really into you or not, what she gives off, like her energy, it was just like captivating. And like, everyone came back from the first conversation and was like, this is great. We're in a great place, and everyone was saying that, right? So like, it just made everyone feel so much better from what they had went through before, where they didn't feel any connection, and that's what they came here for. So everyone was just kind of super pumped because it felt like they were getting more of an opportunity.
Yeah.
Do you feel like the Bennett and Noah controversy was kind of just made up, or were there some real feelings between the two of them? Real feelings of hatred, may I add?
I think in the midst of everything, there was some more like that was more. Yes. I mean, when it comes down to it, they're two like completely different dudes. Like Noah's 25, like this more of like this farm boy, a little bit more rugged. Bennett's like this, like New York, like wealthy, like dresses like they're literally polar opposites.
Yeah.
One couldn't see the other one doing well. That means they weren't doing well, or work. Like, you know what I mean? They're just like, it was awesome to watch. I don't know if you saw, there were some clips where I was just like flying back and forth because I love that shit. When I'm not in it, like I love that shit.
Oh yeah.
Like you guys do.
Yeah,
so I mean, there was some validity to it for sure. Bennett is very much the way he is, but Noah's also like real and doesn't give a shit. He's a little like out there and will hop the fence. But like I saw a lot more things I related to myself with Noah, so it was easy for me to like gravitate to him because like when I was 25, I was more like that than I was with Bennett, right? So it was easy for me to like be on his side more with things.
That makes sense. Before Claire's season even started, there were a lot of rumors about, you know, had Claire and Dale talked before and things like that. When in reality, it seemed like you were actually the one who reached out to Claire and slid into the DMs. What made you do that? And did any of the other guys on the season know that you did that?
There was only a couple guys that knew. I think I had told like Kenny and like a couple guys like during the season portion. But I also, when I explained to them that I had done that, it wasn't like the type of slide in that like
wasn't a you up. It wasn't a you up text.
No, it was very just a genuine like, okay. I knew it was Claire for like 4 months, right? Because I went on the original casting. We got sent home in March, and then I knew I had 4 months before I was going to see her again. So I like completely dove in. I researched everything about her, Instagram, everything. I knew everything. But if you're the lead, don't you want someone who's like completely invested, knows everything about me? Like,
especially Claire.
I mean, Claire, Claire she sent people home for not knowing her.
Yeah, exactly. She made that very clear.
Like, and the thing is, like, this isn't some 25-year-old bachelorette who's like, no, like, Claire's literally here for a husband. Like, this is what she wants. So if you're not coming in fully invested in doing your homework and like finding out all the surface level things so that you can get to the meaningful, deep things when you're there with her, you're wasting time. So I dove in, and when I saw that when I was creeping her, she posted like a live stories, and she would talk about her mom and all these things. Then she posted like a heartfelt kind of story saying that she was really struggling. And so I'm like, hey, well, listen, if Claire is looking for someone that's like genuine, like really invest in all these things, and like she's really going through a hard time, like I'm an idiot to not see this and be like, hey, listen, I hope for all the best. Like, I'm thinking of you, and hopefully I'll see you soon. It was like a very just brief paragraph.
That's brownie points. I would be impressed.
Yeah, and like the thing is, like, watching her talk the way she had done and be so serious and talk about all these things, like there was no way she was taking that message and like being like, why are you messaging me?
Right,
like,
right.
There's no fucking way. There was just no way. Although she did make me feel like that on night one. I'm like, holy fuck, I just showed up here and you're gonna screw me like this? Like, get out of here. Like, I was sweating buckets and I was doing the whole bite lip thing and like, the whole thing. But yeah, no, I just knew that she wouldn't take it and run with it in a negative way. She responded very briefly, and it was good. I felt good, but I was sweating though when I saw her doing like the whole typing with the ... I'm like, fuck, I shouldn't have done this. It was like 1 a.m. in the morning. I'm like, shouldn't have done this. I'm fucked. But no, it was good. All ended up being okay.
Did you slide back in after you found out her and Dale split up?
No, I have not talked to her since the breakup. We had spoke when her and Dale were together. We jumped on a quick FaceTime when Dale was there too, just like shooting the shit. I just wanted to like reach out, and because on episode 4, when I was like, they're not gonna work. There's no fucking way. All those things, like because they looked so great up until that point. I reached out, I'm like, listen, I'm sorry. I had no idea you guys connected the way you did. So my bad. But now it's all kind of.
But you were kind of right.
Yeah,
in the
it
long
seemed
run
like
anyway.
Yeah. So like, yeah.
Yeah. I'm curious. Have you been a fan of the show? Like, how did you end up on The Bachelor? Have you watched past seasons? Because the way you said it with Claire was that you were ready. You knew it was going to be Claire. Did you specifically go on for Claire or no?
No, I didn't go on for Claire because the first time around we didn't know. I had speculation as to who potentially would have been, and actually, like, there was the talks that it could have been Tayshia as well.
Yeah.
It was like Tayshia, Claire, and a couple other people. But as soon as it started to look like it was more like Claire, then I started like diving a little bit more into her. But no, it was super random. I watched Peter Weber's season because pretty early in the casting process, like I felt good about the potential of probably getting on the show. So I started watching more intently on Peter's season just to understand what it was going to be like. But before that, my mom had watched Bachelorette seasons. I remember like the Krista, whatever her name is, the first ever Bachelor season. I remember that one specifically because it was like the new thing. Yeah, I remember that one. But no, other than Peter's season, I didn't know really much about it. But as soon as I knew I was getting on, then I was like, okay, I need to get into understand what the fuck's going to go happen here because I don't want to look like an idiot. But yeah, then it was just random. My buddies, I play on a beer league hockey team here, and it was more like I do anything and everything. I'm spontaneous, adventurous. I don't give a fuck. I live once. Let's do this type thing. That's my attitude. My buddy's like, well, like, why don't you go do one of these like those dating shows? Like you're different. Like you don't give a fuck what anyone thinks. Like jump on one of these things. And I went home, I applied, and then all of a sudden just spiraled out of control. So it was random. Really
love
random.
it. It just sounds like he got dared by his buddies playing hockey to go join the Bachelor.
Basically how it started. But at the same time, like, this is my whole issue is that like the last 2.5 years, I've been single and I've been super, super picky. I would date people and just like, no, if it didn't check off all the boxes, like, no, like I believe in like, there's that one person for you. I don't settle, none of that shit. And so because like, there's this whole, like, this is the Bachelorette, I was like, okay, I put her up on this pedestal, right? I'm like, this is the girl that I've been looking for. This is the girl that's going to like do it for me. Right. So that was also very enticing for me. Once I realized I was potentially going to get on the show, then my mind started switching, being like, okay, this is actually probably going to be a very viable option. They make the Bachelorette a catch. Yeah. So like, you have no excuses now. Like if you get there and like, she's the one, then like, here you are.
Pre-vetted.
Like,
yeah.
So,
what's your life been like post show? What's Blake Moynes' life, after the show? You're a little more recognizable. I mean, you're Blake Moynes.
I'm fucking Blake.
You're Blake Moynes, dude.
No, I wear a mask out now, right? But in Canada, everything's shut down here. Like we go to the grocery store and that's it. So it's unless I go to the gas station or the grocery store and like have my mask off, no one's gonna know who I am or what I'm doing, which is kind of nice in a way. I've just been hunkered down for the most part. Like I'm helping a buddy with a flooring company right now. And then,
I was going to say, you have like a real life job, right?
Yeah. So I was on, so right before I went on the show, I was working with Birds of Prey. So we could dive into that. It's a whole other story. But I was doing that on a short-term contract. And after the show, I didn't go back to doing that just because we're not going to get into populations and breeding seasons and all those kind of things, but basically it's contract work in the summer for the most part, right? Anyways, So right now, I'm just helping a buddy doing some flooring stuff until the summer. I'm supposed to be going to like Africa and do some really, really cool things in Africa, more based on the wildlife conservation stuff that you guys have probably heard about. So right now I'm just like laying low, burying my head, grinding out some like general labor type stuff until summer comes around. Then who knows?
Paradise.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you have some time scheduled to maybe take a few weeks to find love again?
I would definitely have the flexibility to do so if I wanted to. Yes.
Yeah.
And I've said this before. Like anyone that goes on, like, I'm probably not going to do it. It's not. You're fucking lying. Like it's in the deck of cards for you at least.
Right.
And what's happening at that point? Like you'll make that decision. But to say like there's no way you're going, everyone's lying. You just are.
Yeah.
So
that's so true.
Yeah. I mean, it's in the deck of cards. It's in everyone's deck of cards. If you get asked to go, and so when that time comes, then I'll definitely think about it. But like.
Are you not even letting yourself like think about that possibility yet?
Well, yeah, like it's far away, and there's just lots of like that's the thing like with life now, like fucking tomorrow the craziest shit could pop up, and like who
can't
the
really
fuck
plan
knows they're gonna
anything.
be, right?
Yeah.
So like like I said, it's in that deck of cards, and when that time comes, I'll play that card if I have the opportunity to.
Is there anybody on Matt James's season? Any girls that you're interested in getting to know on Paradise, possibly? Or maybe just in real life, maybe you've slid into some DMs.
No, I actually, I answered a Instagram last night. Instagram, like those Q&A things. I jumped on one of those, and like I've slid into DMs, but not in like the way that you would think. It was more like
you keep saying that, but I feel like there's an underlying.
Wait, no. Like for example, like I reached out to both the Canadians right before the season was about to air, being like, "Hey, good luck, guys! Like, well, like,
go Canada,
Atlanta answering like that type stuff." Like it's not like. Hey, like super. No, it's not. It's once you get into the Bachelor Nation world, it's kind of like everyone's kind of like on the same side. Everyone shoots the shit, and like it's not direct. I don't want to get into that any Blake Horseman shit that he got into with last Paris.
You won't be going to Stagecoach.
I've done my homework on that. Like I know how not to do that.
Good thing it was canceled.
Exactly. So no, I'm. Is there people that I'm interested in? There's lots, I think, on Matt James' season, and then in Bachelor Nation, like. There's lots of girls that I find attractive, right? But put it this way, and this is the way I try to think about things. Think about how much you guys fucking miss from me talking to Tayshia. You have no idea what my conversations were like. Yeah. And from that, if it was just Tayshia, you would think I'm like this sex crazed freak, right? For the most part. But like that's the thing, right? Like there's a bunch of girls that I'm watching right now that I'm like, I'm probably missing out on a ton of great shit about. Like how much have we seen about Abigail? She seems like a sweetheart, but you haven't seen much of her, right? So like. I'll get there and I'll make my decision. Lots of great looking girls. Absolutely. But like, let's get there so I can actually find out like everything and not just based on what the show shows.
Right. Like a connection and just making, like you said, making connections in general in Bachelor Nation is a good thing. You want to become friends with people and you want to make those connections with everybody.
Yes. Yeah.
Who did you bond with the most out of the guys on your season?
I would say Jason the most up until Jason left.
Right.
Just because we're in similar spots for the most part, but obviously like he was an NFL football guy, CFL football guy, and like he's been and lived in Canada for a while, so we bonded off a lot of those things, and we're just similar. Anyways, and then like Kenny's good shit. There's I literally got, but again, like Trent, I'm a guy's guy, right? Yep. So like I don't. Yeah, other than the one date I went to that I was supposed to go to, which I smoothed over that next day, like I honestly got along with fucking everybody. Like. There wasn't anyone that like I disliked or like disliked me. Like they're all good shit, and like I could call them up and like they all think I'm a little different. Fuck, I don't know if it's the Canadian thing, but like no, I got along with everybody. Like
you really talk a mile a minute, which is incredible because we didn't see this side of you at all. I was
going to say, Blake, we may have, shit on you a little bit in a joking manner, obviously, but I've grown to be a big fan of you. I really have. You seem like just a great person to be friends with. You can laugh, the banter you said in a comment. You are a great guy. Yeah. And I hope we get to see you on Paradise.
We turn this around, eh? Now we're just the four amigos now.
Yeah,
the four amigos. That's so true. That's our guy.
People are going to be happy to hear that because during the season, people were like, why are you guys doing this to Blake? And obviously, we got to pick on somebody. We got to make jokes somehow. And you were the brunt of that. But I'm happy that we've created this friendship now.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Great turnaround.
Last thing that I'm going to ask. Okay, let's say Claire reaches out in the near future. Is that something you would entertain?
Near future, no.
Yeah.
Near future, no. Like,
just too much.
There's just like diving into that would be a whole fucking thing. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like everyone would be hawk. I just like, if that ever came, it would be way down the road.
Yeah.
And like, it would be an entertain type thing, but
Makes sense.
It's not even in the realm right now.
Makes
you know?
sense. Unfortunately, I feel like Claire and Dale are in this place where whatever they do is captured. You know, they're being watched so carefully right now.
Right.
So yeah, it's a lot to go, a lot to happen. But we do really hope we see you in Paradise. I think that hopefully we see you in Paradise because it seems like there's a lot more to you that people didn't see on the Bachelorette.
I think so too. Maybe more like the sweet, sensitive shit that you guys didn't see will like.
Yeah.
And like again, you're not gonna get that shit right now, right? Because this isn't the place to do that.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting the F-bombs and all that kind of
Yeah.
shit. But like when I'm one-on-one with a girl, I'm like, you know, there's multiple different sides to me. Like Tayshia said, she saw them, no one else did. So maybe in Paradise you'll get to see
you'll
that.
sweet talk the ladies.
And wait, I forgot there was one more thing. Were you drinking apple juice? What was that?
I needed maybe a beer.
Yeah, it was actually a Heineken in a Molson Canadian glass.
Okay.
Nice.
All right, there we go. I was like, is he drinking a beer right now? And then I was like, or is it not
Fuck
a beer?
yeah.
Is it apple juice? Wow.
You think Blake
drinking a
Moynes is
beer?
drinking apple juice
Who
during our
knows?
interview? Are you
Who knows?
kidding me?
Yo, but apple juice is good shit.
It slaps, but I mean,
It really does.
He came on and he was like, "I'm ready for this show.
No,
I'm having a
that's
beer."
what I'm saying. I wish we were all drinking a beer too. That would have been
Same. I'm
nice.
having one after this in honor of you, Blake.
Perfect. Love it.
Blake, thank you very much for coming and talking to us. This was great. I feel like we're, a whole new group now. We have a whole new group, and we really appreciate you. And hopefully we get to meet your mom.
Yeah, we would love to meet your mom. I know
Who
Trent
knows?
would love to meet your mom at some point.
What a delight that would be.
You know what? I actually sent her the link to that the seniors bachelorette.
Yeah.
or the Bachelor.
Trent, you could sign
But-
up.
What?
Yeah.
That would be.
No,
That would actually be incredible because I've seen that link too. Imagine Blake Moynes' mom goes on Senior Bachelor. That'd be awesome.
just continuing it. Yeah, that would be crazy. I don't know how it, I don't know. How to
Yeah, that would be a whole different viewing experience for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't know if that's a great idea for me. But, I mean, fuck, like I said, you live once, right? So
Yeah.
Yep, definitely.
Right. Blake, I hope that you join us again soon. This was a lot of fun. Thank you for joining us.
this was good. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks.
All
man.
right, awesome. Thanks.
Cheers.
Thanks, Blake.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, we did it.
That was awesome.
Awesome. Thank you for taking the time.
No worries. Can you hear me right now?
Yeah, we can hear you still.
Okay. Okay, sir, I'll get out of here now. Do I really talk a mile a minute though?
You do. I think so.
I think.
But like I think sometimes because you guys are like staring at me for a while, it's been like a fucking minute, and I'm like, fuck, I gotta get this out. You know?
I talk
It
the
was
same
not-
way though.
it was
Like
not-
you just have a lot to say and you're just getting it all out.
For sure.
Yeah, I'm trying to get it out, and I'm passionate about shit.
That's what I'm saying. No,
I
it
feel
was
ya.
it was a different side that we haven't seen. I had not seen you talk like that on the show. Like that was like you. Not a mile a minute because we talk a mile a minute too, but you can keep up with us. Not a lot of people
Yeah.
can keep up with us.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck yeah, I can. All right, I'll let you go for real. All
All right, man.
See ya.
Bye,
Thanks.
Blake.
All right, bye.